You address the fact that it took a hook and ladder on that play, the big play to break it. Obviously, y'all playing for everything, but
There we go. That was a couple of weeks ago. Sorry about that, folks. Little technical problems getting started, but here we are. The Houston Texans. Arrowhead Stadium is not the boogaboo anymore that it has been for the Texans, at least right now. The Texans go to Arrowhead and defeat the Kansas City Chiefs tonight by a score of 20-10. And really, this was a tale of like it was about two-thirds Texans and one-third Chiefs. I thought the first half the Texans was a very dominant team. Offensively, the defense, they were conservative, but they done enough to really keep the Chiefs on the heels. But yet, that third quarter, I thought the Chiefs came out defensively and just, I think hit the Texans in the mouth, and I think the Texans sort of stumble. They blinked, but they did not back up. That cute guy on the other side of me, that my good friend, he likes that.
You full of it, AD.
Yeah, I know. Hey, this time of night after hey, you know what? We both been up there when it's cold, and so I know it's gonna be nice walking back from the dressing room. I mean, from the post game, going to the field, going to your car tonight. Because I know last time I had to walk almost back to the back 50 and I almost froze to that. That was after the divisional round game.
Yep.
So I know how that goes, and you know how that goes.
I do.
Long drive, but anyway. The Texans take down the Kansas City Chiefs. Are these the Super Chiefs that we once knew, Elwin, or is an impersonation going on there?
No, I honestly think the Chiefs dynasty is waning. It almost waned last year, and they were able to pull it back together and make it to the Super Bowl, but got beat. But as you know, the Chiefs, even when they've won this season, they've looked out of sync the better part of at least half of most of the games. And I honestly think the age is catching up to them. All the trouble they've had on the offensive line is catching up to them. But even bigger than that, when it comes to Houston and Kansas City, I think the Houston Texans are growing and maturing and headed in the direction of the upward spiral, while Kansas City is going down on the downward spiral right now.
Yeah, I think, if you go to if you go to the introductory page, my note page on the not on the corner, but on the Houston Roundball, the Facebooks, and all the other. I think that was the Texans seized momentum tonight, and they did not they didn't relinquish. They stumbled a little bit in the third quarter, but to me, and I'm taking my hat off to the. I know Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter. Come on, don't. That's a Rolls Royce and a Lamborghini, vice versa on both sides. Hat goes off to the Texans defensive tackles tonight, because to me, they had to win the game. And the reason I'm saying they had to win the game from a defensive standpoint, Patrick is notorious about stepping up in that pocket, looking for that little opening when he'll right before he'll break the passing plane, he'll flick a pass out, the receiver will get over. However, tonight, those receivers didn't get open like that.
No.
And the thing about it, the defensive tackles kept lane integrity. I know that's a nice word. In other words, nobody went wild and crazy trying to go after Patrick. And then once we find out, Patrick wasn't Patrick tonight, because if you notice, he was putting heat wrap on his knee in between possessions, and he was limping. Patrick, he was wounded, but he's still Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
And I think what we've seen tonight, there's going to have to be some changing of the guards as far as offensive line goes with the Chiefs, and also with some. I think I think per Kelsey, I think go ahead and concentrate on getting married and
Yep.
go to your next part of your life,
I
because
agree.
I think as this we saw the best of you, and we've seen the best of you. You might have some flashes going, but I think for the most part, this is not the Kelsey a couple years ago.
No.
And we know it. I think everybody else know it. Father Time catches up with us all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've seen and Father Time, not only when he catches up with us, he snatches the magic away that we once used to that we displayed in our respective areas. And I think the magic between Mahomes and Kelsey, that magic is, you might see some little pixie dust here and there, but I think for the most part, it's done.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, it's done. I was encouraged. I was encouraged by the play caller Spags, and I stated this. I thought Spagnola really tested the Houston Texans offense in that third quarter.
He did.
They came out, and and here's the thing about it. You got to give them credit. They kept the composure long enough. They did not. CJ did not get rattled. Yeah, he took some hits and he threw the ball away. I think I've seen some times, maybe prior to his concussions and prior to at the first part of the year, he probably would have thrown more interceptions tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But tonight, he really took care of the ball.
Yeah,
He
he
took
really
care.
did, AD. And I think the big thing there. I know you saw his press conferences, and I watched him on my phone when he got back before the Indianapolis game last week. And he said he felt like he learned a lot and it did him a lot of good sitting over on the sidelines while he was in the concussion protocol and seeing what happened and seeing how everything went. And I think he gained a lot of education and learned a lot of stuff, even though he wasn't on the field, that have really helped him these last two games.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. Coach, the final chapter on this iteration of the Houston Texans is nowhere close to being written. But
No,
I think it as we speak, it is being written now. But I think the culmination of the Texans, I think they control their own destiny now.
absolutely.
This game here, I mean, there are others. There are other games yet to come. This game here, I think, has in the Texans' mind, guys, we can play.
Absolutely. Anybody.
We can play. I don't care who it is. We can play with anybody
Mm-hmm.
because with that defense, what Matt Burke and D'Amico Ryans and what they're doing now with that defense and that secondary. And here's the thing about it: Kamari Lassiter
Oh,
is a very nasty individual.
he is. He plays with intensity.
Oh, I mean, it's like I dare you. How dare you throw at me? And Kamari knows with Stingley over. I think Stingley, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I was trying to track this. Stingley might have had maybe 3 balls thrown in his
Hmm.
directions tonight,
Yep.
maybe 3, and I think of the 3, 1 was completed. But for the most part, the Texans, Stingley basically just told Patrick, okay, whatever side of the field, I'm over here now, and Patrick is not scared of nobody.
No.
With that receiving core and everything they have, but I really think that they sort of shifted their whole focus on Kamari Lassiter, and Kamari Lassiter is making folks pay for And okay, we can say this right now. No, Kamari Lassiter is not Derek Stingley Jr. We
No.
understand that, but you know what? I like what the Texans have their corners right now.
Oh, absolutely. We've got two shutdown corners.
Yeah, yeah. I'm still, and then you got a ball hawking free safety there,
Yeah.
and Buck. You got, I mean, and there. I mean, you look at it, and really, your linebackers and between Henry Tortora, speed, and Aziz Ashar, you got linebackers in there that initially you just think, well, okay, a little light. They're not really, but they're sort of like, I hate to use the war reference, but they're sort of like tomahawk missiles back
They
there.
really are. They really
you
are.
know, yeah, no, they go for it, and I think at least from my perspective, I think Andrew, somebody gonna start coaching. Andy Reid can still coach.
Yep.
It make no make go, but you know what? D'Amico Ryans is his evolution as a head coach is leading this team, and then way the players are responding, and like it's like D'Amico said, and I'm pretty sure when I'm hoping he's still probably saying the same thing he was saying at the beginning of the year, but
I guarantee you.
yeah, but I guarantee here's the deal. I guarantee those players are hearing there's a different tone and an inflection of what they're hearing now.
Oh,
And
absolutely. You know,
you
they'll
know,
say in AD, winning breeds winning. And
yeah,
I think once they tasted victory, as you know, they have now won 8 of the last 10 games, 5 in a row. But you know what we discussed earlier, the Texans did have a rough third quarter. And I'll be honest with you, when that third quarter got to rolling, I'm like, oh gosh, Spags changed everything on his defense. We didn't
yeah,
make any changes. This is going to be a tough second half. And I still
right,
maintain, yes, the
right,
Texans maintained integrity both offensively and defensively. They did not turn the ball over, got 3 turnovers. But I will say right now, what turned that game, and I will say it, Andy Reid's a great coach, but he made an absolutely stupid decision with over 7 minutes to go for 4th and 1.5 from
fourth
his
down,
own 31-yard line. That's what
yeah,
opened the door for the Texans. And when they got the defensive stop with the incomplete pass there, and you saw what I saw, Patrick could have run for it and probably gained 4 or 5 yards, but it was a pass play called and he threw the pass. When they got that open door with the offense seeing what the defense had done, they're like, okay, let's nail the lid on this coffin. And I'm not going to say any differently that it would have turned out any differently, even if they had punted the ball there, because I told several friends of mine at church today, and I told several friends that I talked to before the game started tonight, I said, the Houston Texans are going to win this game tonight. They all laughed at me. I said, they're going to find a way. They got the momentum, the Chiefs don't. But I firmly believe that that's what opened the door. And then the Texans put that nail in the coffin and shut the door. But one more thing that you and I have talked about 2 or 3 times, and I heard CJ talk about it on the postgame show when he was interviewed on NBC, and I heard D'Amico in his press conference. And I maintained, and I've asked both of them, and you've heard me ask both of them this. I firmly believe that those two men's deep Christian faith and believe in God and with what they have preached, if you will, to some of the other players, and I know they've got a lot of Christians on this Texans team, but I think that God is blessing this team because of the leadership this team has. And every single game, win, lose, or draw, you've seen it just like I have. Both CJ Stroud and D'Amico Ryans, the first thing they talk about when they're answering their first question, I want to first of all thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And I firmly believe they're being blessed because of in their own way on the football field, expressing their Christian faith and talking about the gospel.
well, I don't disagree. But and I know some folks will say right now, "Oh, you mean to tell me God's favoring?" No, God,
No,
no, He's not favoring. Because the thing about it, if that was the case, then the injuries that happened tonight, you wouldn't be. This game is still a violent game.
it
Hit
is.
me, and so trust me. I guarantee you, it's some guys walking walked out of walking out of the out of the locker room tonight with some bumps and bruises. It's a couple of guys did not come back. The corner, the KC shut down corner. He left early,
Yeah,
but you know what?
McDuffie.
Yeah, McDuffie left early. Spags, and Nick Cayley. I think Spags caught him. I think, and here's the thing about these guys in these scripted plays, and I think it took a while for Spags to figure some things out. But and then all of a sudden they made the adjustments, and like you mentioned earlier,
Mhm.
just a few minutes ago, Spags made the adjustments in that third quarter, and he came out, and and so my question was, how is Nick Haley going to counter this?
Mhm.
Be quite candid with you. I think the way he got countered, and I'm going, and I appreciate you raising the point. I think Andy Reid was the counter
Yes, he was.
because the fact that you you really put your defense up, put your back up against the wall on that 4th and 1
Mhm.
within your own territory, and then the Texans came out and. Here's the thing about it. Nick Chubb got hurt tonight. A lot of folks, Chubb got hurt and then wasn't able to come back in.
Right.
Woody Marks, and the thing, Nico Collins in the first half, Nico made all of them. He just made the no Kansas City Chiefs all of them pay hard and dear, and but it's been different receivers, Schultz, the rest of them.
Mhm.
Dar Ogumawale came in and ran
Yes.
hard on that because that was number been Nick Chubb on that call right there,
Yep.
you know. But and like I said, I know Woody Marks is he's right about now. He's pretty bruised up
Mhm.
because it's probably getting to it's getting to that time of the year that normally okay okay we getting ready to rest for a week or two. It's no resting now,
No.
you know.
No.
And what's going to be interesting now is to see how these rookies who really right now the ones who have contributed, they're not rookies anymore, but they
No.
and I'm going to be interested to watch them and talk to them and see what are they doing. I'll check with them and see okay how y'all helping these kids because they're gonna hit that wall.
Oh yeah.
And I know Woody Marks and Cat. I think he had 300. I mean, he's had a lot of carries at SC. He carried the ball a lot. But remember, that was SC. You playing in the NFL right now,
Yep. Yep.
okay? I don't care what they say. I don't care about the NIL, all that other stuff. You know,
It's a different world.
Oh, it is a totally different world, Elvin. You know it and I know it. So, and I'm gonna be interested to see what's gonna be Nick Chubb's status.
Yep.
Are they gonna have to go out and get another running back?
Mhm.
You know,
I think
so
we'd be remiss if we didn't bring up in that first half, there were three unbelievable pass completions getting away from the rush, rolling out that CJ made. That if you didn't know, you would have sworn that was Patrick Mahomes on those three passes. I mean, he
oh,
looked just like Patrick Mahomes on those
he
three
will. He
passes.
I
And that was
concur.
the key to jumping out to that 10-0 lead. I
Yeah,
mean, he looked better, I thought, than he'd looked all season long tonight.
yeah. I thought his first half, and I think I tweeted out they have to maintain the intensity going into that second half. And because we knew that the adjustments were going to be made, and they were
Mhm.
made, and we saw it. But again, I'm going back to your point, and I think it's a valid point. Andy Reid snatched momentum away from his own team.
He did.
He snatched momentum. The Texans took advantage of. And here's the thing: what I like about it, they went down there and scored. They didn't. They didn't. They didn't.
Absolutely.
They didn't go for a field goal. So
No.
early part of the season when they were leaving points on the table, kicking the field goals and everything, I got hats off to him. And I'm gonna tell you something else. Tommy Townsend tonight.
Oh,
I mean, now and given he had 8 punts, total average about 41.1 yard. But the thing about it, some of his kicks tonight, and he's kicked. Like I said, he won a Super Bowl ring with the Chiefs.
Yep.
He if anything, I think he understood how to kick in that stadium, particularly from
Yep.
one end, depending on which end he's on. And
Yep. It's different.
and if you it is totally different how he's rocketed coming out of one end and on the one end. And I would like to say the east end of that stadium, as opposed to sort of keeping the ball lower,
Hmm.
and not having the hang time. I think he probably sacrificed some hang time depending on which end of the stadium he was kicking out tonight. That was just some observations. I know, just some subtleties. I think that that overall, and all and like I say, the three phases: offense, defense, and special team. And I think tonight, you know, I think I think Tommy was a big weapon tonight as
Oh
far
yeah.
as
And
and
you
go
you
ahead.
make a very valid point about that stadium because you and I both. I know you and I were there twice together, and I covered a Cowboys game up there. I've been up there 3 times. The wind swirls differently from one end of that stadium to the other, and that's what you were alluding to. And it makes no sense when you look at the stadium that it would, but it does.
Yeah,
It's totally different kicking from one end of that stadium to the other.
yeah. I mean, it is the darnest thing.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about it: you can't really look at the flags and adjust. You can't go
No.
for the flags. The flags will lie to you
Hmm.
because of the way it swirls going into those respective end zones, man. So yeah, it is a unique place to play in, and like I say, it's home field advantage for the Chiefs.
Hmm.
But as I stated, I think it's time to stick a fork in them. If
I
they,
agree. And
I don't.
this was their first loss at home this season at Arrowhead. They were
Oh
5-0 before tonight.
well, and you know what? But the thing about it, this that one loss might be the nail in the coffin
Oh, I agree.
to keep
I
them at
agree.
home. Hey
And,
man,
the beautiful thing to me about this is the Texans went from number 9 or number 10 to number 7, and the Chiefs dropped to number 10 with the loss. And now the Texans know for the first time this season, they're in control of their own destiny. Whether or not Jacksonville stumbles really doesn't matter. As long as the Texans win out, they know they will get in the playoffs. And I said, ever since I saw them start playing better, you better watch out. If the Texans get in there, they're going to make a lot of noise. And I feel like with the way this team is coming together, the way they played, winning 8 of these last 10 games, if they get in the postseason, I think they can create a lot of noise. And I really think they could be a dark horse to go all the way.
well, you know what? I won't. I'm not gonna cast them as a dark horse because the thing about it, that deep, like everybody, I think everybody to a person has looked at them. Everybody said this defense is a Super Bowl caliber,
It
Super
is.
Bowl.
It is.
No if. He said, just got all we need. All you need now is your offense to become more consistent and come around to the point that just don't beat yourself.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourselves when you got a chance to score points, and that's the unique thing about it. That when Andy Reid made that 4th and 1 and they turn around and capitalize, to me, that's when you go ahead and help your defense out. You
Oh,
go,
absolutely. And they did a
you
great job of that. Great
yeah,
job of that. The thing about the AFC picture, the reason I say dark horse, I think the way they're playing and have played all season long, you've got to say that the Broncos and the Patriots would have to be the favorites in the AFC. And that's why I said we're a dark horse. Not that I think we can't make that run and beat either one of them. I think we
right,
can.
right. Well, I put it like this: you and I, we might wind up having to go to Mile High,
Yep.
or we might have to wind up going to Foxborough for an AFC conference championship game, mate. You know, and so I'm sort of and guess what? Those are two stadiums I have yet to make it to. So this,
I've been to both of them, but not during football season.
oh, okay, all right. Well, let's put it like this: if it's gonna be a Mile High, you just get ready. It's gonna be cold, and it
Yep.
and if And I'm gonna put it like this. I don't see the Texans having to wind up going to Buffalo.
I
I
don't
don't
either. I don't either.
I think that situation will work itself out.
Yep.
I think it's probably might be Foxborough or Mile High.
Well,
But
you know, the
anyway, man,
beautiful thing about that, too,
go ahead.
AD,
Go ahead.
if the Texans go on and run the table, which they very well should, in my opinion, if they
Yeah,
keep playing like they are right now, and Jacksonville does stumble and the Texans win the AFC South, even if they played Buffalo, Buffalo would have to come to Houston
true, true.
because Buffalo is not going to win their division.
No, 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 no. I think that's been taken care of.
Yep.
Final points, man, as we get ready to wrap it up, man, because I know you and I both got early. Well,
Yeah.
not we are about 5 minutes from the witching hour, so
Uh-oh. Well,
uh,
you know, my final thought would be very proud of the Texans and what they have accomplished after starting 0-3. Very excited to see what these next 4 weeks bring, and excited to see them in the playoffs for the third year in a row, and very excited to see what they'll do when they get into the playoffs.
yeah, I'm gonna echo your sentiments again about CJ. To me. There's something different about his acumen. There's something different about his whole persona and the way he's quarterbacking now. And
Absolutely.
you know, um, I think watching Davis Mills for those 3 weeks, and right now, folks might think this sounds crazy, but if I had to give out an MVP for the Houston Texans right now, Davis Mills.
He saved the season.
You know, everybody can say what they want. Yeah, I know the defense is great and everything,
Yep.
but when this team was on the ropes, and when he went out, and when this team was on the ropes, and to me, right now, that's the MVP
Absolutely.
in my
He
humble opinion. And I'm
he
not that.
literally saved the season. And let's face it, AD, when we saw CJ go down with that concussion, I don't think you or I either one. The first thought in my mind was, "Oh Lord,
Yeah,
Davis Mills."
yeah,
He turned it up not a notch, but he turned it up about 10 notches, and played the best football of his NFL career those 3 weeks.
yeah. I concur. Hey man, final points from you, and then I'm gonna turn you loose, and then I'm gonna turn it loose, and we're gonna call it a good night, and then we'll just see what happens, because the Arizona Cardinals will be in next week, and then the Los Angeles Raiders will be in for the afternoon game. It's kind of ironic, man. I thought, with both of these West Coast teams, I thought we would have been in the 3:30 window for both games.
You'd think so.
Yeah,
I think it has a lot to do, of course, with the Raiders with their lack of success this season.
well, it's
But I
not.
was especially surprised about the Chargers.
Yeah, but I guess the thing what's getting me, both of these guys, let me do this real quick. I'll show this real quick. TX713, Texans will take care of business if CJ can execute and play not scared and play well on third down and find your man. Okay, now I'll go with
That's a
that.
fair point.
Yeah, yeah. And one, appreciate it. I appreciate y'all still being up and coming through. But let's go Texans. Yeah, 8-5. You know what? Nobody. You know what? We couldn't. I don't think Vegas would have took our money if we went through there and talking about. Oh, they're getting ready. Vegas would have said, go home.
Yeah, I don't think they would have either at 0-3.
Yeah.
I don't
Final
think
point.
we would have put a penny on them at 0-3 either.
Well, since they're taking pennies out of circulation, they probably wouldn't want to accept a penny
Well,
anyway.
that's
Who
true
knows?
too.
All right, man. Final point, man, and then I'm cutting you loose.
Just excited about the win tonight. Excited for what this team has done to come back the way they have. Tickled to death to see them maintain the number one defense, because you and I know you have a great game, and if you're up near the top in the top 3 or 4, you can be number one for a week. But this defense has maintained it throughout the season, and that is next to impossible to do for a full season.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing about they've been fortunate with the injuries too. They've
Yep.
been fortunate with the injuries on. So So we'll take it like that. Yeah, you're right. Good win. All right, Elwin. Hey, man, be careful, be safe. We'll be
You too.
talking, and we'll go from there. And that was my man, Elwin Henderson, the Gilmer Mirror. I appreciate him. Hey, folks, we getting ready to shut this puppy down. It is the witching hour. I'm not gonna turn into a pumpkin, but anyway. Hey, be safe out there. Be safe this week. Riding around. Be kind to one another. We're in the holiday season. Be careful. Don't be caught with a bunch of packages walking around and not paying attention to what's going on. Okay, folks, be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And you know what? We out. Be prepared. I'll be coming from NRG next week as the Texans and the Arizona Cardinals will be in play. Folks, we done. I'm out. Ciao.